to you from the Radio for One studios in Franklin, Michigan. Welcome to the Detroit Cast.
Big fan.
A show not just free of charge, but free of FCC regulations.
Thank you for your support of the Detroit Cast.
Oh, there it is.
And without further delay, it's showtime. Please welcome the Detroit Cast. Here are your hosts, Mike and Jay.
Well. Day, fine sir. Good day. Welcome, everybody, to the Detroit Cast. Mike, Jay, Big E. Tim is actually here today. How are you, friend?
Well,
Doing all right?
yes.
Seems like just a mere few minutes ago that you guys were here.
Seems like that.
Yeah. How you doing, E?
Great.
Yeah.
So happy.
He's got his Goose Top Gun hat on today.
Yeah, that's his
I'm
go-to now.
I'm
I didn't think
sticking
you'd like
with
that hat.
You know what? I tend to, with hats, as you can tell, I tend to like have ones that last a little bit and then they just go away. So right now, this is just the flavor of the day, I suppose. But I do like it. I do like that.
Sagging his Michigan pants there. Those aren't pullaways anymore.
No.
Oh, celebrating the
celebration
game.
of the big first four game. Not really.
The U of M Tulsa matchup.
Yeah,
he's
so
in-
excited.
He's in full U of M gear. He's
I
got
know.
his
I almost wear a
big
hat.
chill
today, too.
sweatshirt on. Really?
I know. Not really. I don't have a Michigan hat right now, actually, so I couldn't have worn a hat. But
It's a real room
Unless
in
I
here.
wore my-
Michigan State here from the King.
unless I
and
wore my big Wolverine hat, Jay, my big foam Wolverine
you
hat.
got
I
one of
could've
those?
worn.
You do not have one of
I
those.
do.
You do? Did you
Yeah,
buy it?
Dude, it was a present, but I mean, dude, I haven't worn it in a long time, but I do have it still. I don't throw stuff like that away, even if I don't wear it anymore.
Do they have Sparty foam hats?
Those are kind of
They
gone
have
now,
those
aren't
those helmet kind of,
Oh, I like those with the
the plume or whatever.
plume. Yeah, those are kind of cool. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Lot to get to today. The world's still dominated, obviously, politically by the Trump phenomenon that's going on. We need a big news story to break to shake things up. Don't you think?
Don't say it. We need a plane crash.
they? I don't know if a plane crash is big enough.
Plane
Unless
crashes
it was
get
like-
boring quick
The
too.
domestic U.S., it would be big enough. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Domestic
oh,
U.S.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
Well,
it
for
would
If
be.
it's just a
America,
bunch of
it
Indian
matters.
people dying or
Right.
something, no.
No, it's got to be Americans
God, of
before I'll
course, not
care.
Feather.
Right.
Either one.
Richard Simmons.
Dick Simmons is
Dick Simmons.
big in the news today.
He had to come out and make an announcement. We had this story last night. We never got to it, but what a weird story. He's been gone from the public eye for a couple of years.
Guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well, he used to be everywhere, just kind of dancing and wearing glittery clothes and
Right.
doing his thing. He's funny, man. He's a great interview. But he kind of disappeared, and he had to make a surprise TV appearance last night via telephone after he'd been gone for a couple years from the spotlight because people have been reporting that they're worried about him. They think he's been kidnapped.
Dude, I had been reading. I had been like, I don't know whether it was just on TMZ or something, but even though like 6 months ago or something, I started to hear, like, just in the pop culture news, something about this, like, where is he? Where has he been? Or something.
Yeah.
And
Do you think he's just super fat and he's afraid to come out?
I don't know. I can't imagine Dick Simmons. Well, I guess I can imagine him getting huge. He used to be huge. Wasn't that his whole thing? He addressed the recent reports of why he hasn't been seen for 2 years. He told Entertainment Tonight last night, "I am not kidnapped. I am just in my house right now. No one should be worried about me. The people that surround me are wonderful people who take great care of me. For the last 40 years, I've been traveling, teaching classes, and I had a knee injury, so I had knee replacement, which was very difficult for me. I have really just been taking the easy, staying at home, working out in my gym, and doing things I haven't done in a very long time."
What does that mean? Dick phoned this in. I don't like that he phoned this in.
I don't either. And
He couldn't have Skyped this. He couldn't have done something via video.
yeah, no, that you bring up interesting points. Now,
You know, his housekeeper's sitting there with a cue card.
yeah,
Read
with a
it, Dick,
gun,
read it.
gun to his head.
Yeah.
yeah, with the phone interview, there's no him holding up a newspaper, so we know what day it is and whatnot.
Well, he this comes on the heels of this article that was written over the weekend, which kind of tells the story. It interviews some friends of his, and including this one guy who says that his name's Mauro Oliveira, which is kind of a weird dude too. I mean, he met Dick Simmons in 2013. It's like, how close are you really with Dick Simmons? But he says that
especially when Dick Simmons hasn't been out in the public for 2 years.
Right.
So yeah, like, is this really an insider?
That's my question. But he's bringing up some interesting points, and he says that Dick Simmons opened his door. He was frail and trembling. This guy, he was Simmons' masseur. Oh, interesting. And former assistant. He greeted him on the front porch. He was concerned about his friend after receiving a phone call from Simmons. And he was wearing a T-shirt and sweatpants. Simmons led him through the foyer into the living room. Morrow, we can no longer see each other. What's going on, Richard? Why are you saying that? I don't know. I just want to be by myself, and I want to be in the house, and we're never going to see each other again. He's trying to break up with this dude. Let's talk it over. I want to sit here and make sure you'll be okay. Let's go upstairs. I'll give you a massage. And Simmons calls up to Teresa, who's the villain in this story, his personal live-in housekeeper, Teresa Reveles. She's been with him for like 30 years. And he yells up to her. He's like, Morrow's coming upstairs with me. And she's like, no. She won't let it happen. Get out. Ooh. Oliveira looked at his friend, and Dick Simmons is just like, you got to go. And he's like, is she controlling your life now? And he says, yes.
Don't speak of it. Just leave now.
Just go. This isn't going to work. I'd love a massage, but this isn't going to work. You got to go now. Richard Simmons has vanished from the public view. Many who know him best say they have not had any contact with him in a couple years. All repeat the same message, some anonymously and some on the record. Simmons stopped returning calls and emails more than 2 years ago, behavior that is highly out of character, and that his housekeeper is blocking all access to him. Ooh. We were very close, as a friend in Hollywood who spoke on the condition of anonymity. It's not something that I want to seek publicity about. We are very concerned. Teresa did turn me away several times. He has missed funerals of close friends. He was the most reliable, caring person on the planet, and then suddenly vanished. I have come to believe that something else is happening. I don't think Richard is in there of his own volition.
There's only one thing that could explain this, Mike.
You know what it is, don't you? I feel that Richards is now being controlled by the very people he used to control in his life. They're taking advantage of his weak mental state. His brother, who I think he was estranged for many years, his manager, and Teresa. Those three people, they think he's also depressed because his Dalmatian died. 17-year-old Dalmatian. Now, where this gets a little more interesting and clear, as you're alluding to, Jay, Betty Wilson is an advocate for an advocate in Los Angeles for people with disabilities. She has also been a friend of Richard's for like 20 years. Until that is in late 2013, I'm concerned because it's not like him to not respond to me. I have sent many emails, no response. A few years ago, Simmons expressed interest in developing exercise programs for the disabled. It shows his humanity. He wanted to be inclusive. The two were in regular contact about this project until 2 years ago when his responses suddenly stopped. Now she joins all the friends that are worried about him. Wilson and Simmons have a mutual friend, June Park, who operates the store Wigs Today in Los Angeles. For years, Simmons made frequent visits to the shop to chat with Park and browse the merchandise. Friends say Simmons when he's at home, he wears wigs all the time.
Dick Simmons.
Including a blonde bob. I bet that looks adorable. And a brown one that's shoulder length. Those are his go-to models. He's such a sweet guy. He tries to help everybody. He brings people in here and buys them wigs. Park last tried to visit Simmons in July of 2014, his 66th birthday. She brought flowers, and Teresa answered the door. He started humiliating me in front of everybody. It's hard to explain how someone is when they're tormented by a bad force.
See,
that's the
only
thing.
One thing that can explain this.
Teresa is putting black magic on
black
him.
Magic.
Well,
black magic.
If there's wizardry going on here, I mean, the allegations are strong, but what else explains it?
What else could it be?
I mean, seriously. Oliveira's version of Simmons' descent into what he calls self-imprisonment is the most viable theory to which friends in the dark can cling. He first met, they met at a Hollywood art gallery in March of 2013. They quickly connected. And Oliveira started working for Simmons, first as the masseuse, then as a personal assistant. He insists that he and Simmons were just friends, never romantically involved. Absolutely not.
Why would you think that?
Right. That May, Simmons offered to buy him a birthday present, saying it could be big. And so he's like, yeah, I grew up in this orphanage and they've got this shit well. Will you buy him a new well for $30,000? And Dick was like, I guess. And so they go over there and that's when trouble started a brewing between the two. They go over there for this beautiful visit to Brazil where Dick Simmons is buying this well. And when we woke up at the hotel, he was already tormented. I went into his room and said, Richard, are you ready? And he already started being bipolar. Don't rush me. I had just asked in a nice way. Then as we were driving, he started humiliating me in front of the driver. Just being a tormented person, it's extremely hard to explain to how someone is when they're tormented by a bad force. That's the thing. Teresa is putting black magic on him. Again with the black magic allegations. It's crazy. This guy admits that some in the Simmons camp were concerned that it was he who was after the boss's money. Okay. Starting to point fingers and say this dude that just got here on the scene last week is getting a $30,000 birthday gift. In 2013, October, he began living in an apartment that Simmons purchased, which made the others uncomfortable.
Just his masseuse. That's it.
Yeah, just a masseuse and an assistant. Why wouldn't he buy me an apartment and buy a well for this community? Oliveira said that he sent a monthly rent check of $2,000, which Simmons never cashed. In 2015, he contacted Simmons' accountant and asked for an unspecified amount of money. Why wouldn't you do that? He claims that Simmons had told him to ask for money whenever he needed it. So that's how we smooth that over. In November of 2013, Simmons' depression seemed to worsen. He suggested a trip to Europe with Olivero Catalano, who I'm not sure who Catalano is, Simmons' accountant, and Lenny. I think Lenny's his brother, and Kathy Simmons must be his sister. Or Lenny could be married to Kathy. I'm not sure. Oliveira, not wanting to repeat of the Brazil experience, declined. But Richard was insistent. And so he decided, okay, I'll go. The group made it through the first two stops, France and England, without incident. But a darker energy materialized in Venice.
He could sense it.
Yeah. Some wizardry took place in Venice. And then all of a sudden, he was under that spell and turned nasty again. On the final day of their trip, Simmons emerged in the hotel lobby dressed in a purple wig, fur coat, and earrings, wearing heavy purple lipstick and rouge. Olivero sensed trouble a-brewing. That day, the group rented a gondola, and when Kathy tried to step onto the boat, it tipped and water rushed in, and the gondolier started screaming at her. And then I said, listen, you don't talk to tourists like this. We're paying you. Richard turned to me and started screaming at me, saying that I was a nobody and that I wasn't an accomplished artist. Ooh, got personal quick. I don't know if he was looking for an opportunity or a reason. Then he started singing opera. Again, wizardry. He was possessed by a bad spirit. When a bad spirit gets in your body, he was possessed. My blood pressure was through the roof, and I suspected I had a minor heart attack. I later had to put a valve in my heart. Oliveira returned to his hotel room and decided that he could no longer work for Simmons.
Just as an aside, I later had to put a valve in my heart.
Right. Well, Simmons gave him a heart attack that day. It's too bad. It's tragic. Oliveira got back to his hotel room, decided he can't work for Simmons. Between that day and their dramatic final meeting in April, they socialized occasionally, and Oliveira still provided massages. As Simmons began cutting off most friends, his beloved dog Hattie died, and it was shitting all over the house. So it was just shitting everywhere and finally needed to be put down. Yeah, so you can see this has gotten
ugly. Why does that happen with recluses where, the animals just on countertops and shitting where they want?
I don't know.
So what happened with this Teresa chick who's supposedly controlling him and casting black spells?
Yeah.
She's been with him 30 years and then just all of a sudden she decides to
she went dark on him.
Cast a few spells.
Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. Like, part of me thinks it's really, really weird for Richard Simmons to be just vanished from the public eye. But there's nothing to suggest that he can't just decide, like, hey, man, I did my time. I 40 years of prancing onto red carpets and making radio show appearances and Letterman show appearances. And now I'm 60
older.
years now. He's 64 years old at the time.
I was going to say, he's probably older than you think.
He's 67 now.
Travel like crazy, and maybe he's just a little bit depressed and wants to hang out.
Yeah, which, believe me, I understand why that would be appealing as a lifestyle, to just shut it all out. He's got money. He doesn't need to worry about that. think he sold 20 million videos back in the day.
Wow.
Of his what was it?
Yeah,
Dancing to the Oldies or
Yes,
whatever.
that's
Wasn't
what
that
was, where he had those striped little short pants.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, but allegations of black magic. But it is weird though that he would cut off, like, you would think even if he didn't want to be a public guy, he wouldn't alienate everybody in his life, like these other friends are saying. This Olivero Masseuse dude, I mean, that's making the black magic accusations, and he even understands, like, in this culture, it's not as widely respected, but in Brazil, in Mexico,
It's obvious.
The signs are so crystal clear of black magic and wizardry going on. You guys don't get it here, but this is obviously what's happening. And so, I'll have to take him at his word. As he says, I'm not terribly familiar with the wizardry lifestyle, but if that's what's going on, that's awful.
It is. It's tragic.
Yeah.
Glad they brought this to light.
Yeah. He also wrote a play titled King Rich and the Evil Witch.
Oh boy.
Oliveira.
Is that going to be on Broadway pretty soon, or should I be expecting that?
Sounds like the guy with mental illness is Oliveira.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of what I'm gathering too. And he's hoping it will be a Broadway play.
Okay, I'm getting ready.
Yeah,
I'm going to plan a New York trip
I
around it.
might actually see that play. If it hits
Actually, I think I
Broadway.
would too.
King Dick and the Evil Witch.
King Rich and the Evil Witch.
If that comes to Detroit as a play, I will go.
In
Because it'd be so
January, TMZ was reporting that the LAPD checked on Simmons after they received a tip with an elder abuse claim. So he was walking with a limp. He answered the door with a beard, but he appeared in good health. So
that
Well,
was
he's
that,
walking with a limp. That's nothing out of the ordinary.
yeah. Well, he had the bad knee
Sure.
and knee replacement. Poor guy. Poor Dick Simmons. The other guy who was on our radar a long, long time ago, Don Sterling.
Donald's back.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah, one of
He's
those.
got AIDS.
Not
I didn't
dead,
give
is
him
he?
those AIDS.
And when he had those AIDS, I went to my synagogue and I prayed for him.
He's not getting divorced now.
Oh, they worked things out. He and Shelly.
He and Shelly have apparently worked things out.
God, they were going at it like dogs before. I mean,
Remember, he called her a vile pig in court when she walked
Yes.
by. He called his wife a pig. You're a pig in court.
I'm the guilty one for uttering those terrible, ugly words that I don't mean.
I don't mean.
The Sterling, they've been married 60 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have ups and downs like all marriages.
ebbs and flows.
The Sterlings are opting out of the divorce that Donald filed for in August, just 2 weeks before their 60th anniversary.
I don't know why the girl had me say those things.
Donald cited irreconcilable differences in his divorce filings last year and said the couple had been separated since 2012. Notwithstanding all the difficult events of the last 2 years, we've resolved our differences.
Have they?
Yeah, that's according
beautiful.
to
So
Bobby
nice.
Bobby Samini. Remember Bobby Samini? Isn't he the
Did he give him a stand down order?
stand down, Bobby? Isn't Samini the one that
Slay the bastards.
yeah, draw your swords and slay the bastards. I
Yeah.
believe he told that to Bobby Samini. What was that in reference to? When they
think
were
so.
trying to take his team away? Was that part of that
so, yeah.
whole? Donald gave caustic combative testimony during his trial over the team sale, saying Shelly had duped me. She duped me. And that's when he called her a pig when she tried to approach him after his testimony.
Well, the duping was, remember, she was trying to get him designated as mentally incapacitated.
yeah. She had a couple
and so she had a
doctors
couple-
interview him.
right, and he was like duped. He didn't realize what was going on. He claimed
Yeah.
they're doing like a
Informal.
psychiatric exam.
At his house.
My
And then
man.
he was trying to lean on, those are my private records.
Yeah,
You can't go public with my private records. And so that's why he was duped by this vile pig. The couple testified at trial last year that they're enduring love for each other. We display cards. We give each other for our anniversaries and birthdays. So we weren't able to divorce because of that.
Nice.
Good for him. It's working out.
It's beautiful. Love
Yeah.
has conquered.
love has conquered all. We have to tell you about our buddy David Helm. This segment's brought to you by Helm Law. Helm Law is a full-service law firm built on the model of providing the best legal service to its clients throughout Michigan. It represents clients in a wide range of cases, including family law and divorce, civil litigation, estate planning, and criminal defense. So whether you're leaving your children in the car or your spouse is refusing to put out, call Helm Law at 248-679-8804 or go online at helmlawpc.com. They offer free consultations. If you tell them you support the show, you'll get 15% off.
I don't know if Helm can help the guy, the Thomas DiMassimo, the 22-year-old we talked about
Trump
yesterday.
protester.
Yeah, he's the guy that jumped the guardrail and tried to make his way onto the stage. He spoke to CNN yesterday about that.
He gave good reasons for his actions.
Yeah, of course. Nothing about himself or wanting the limelight. That's all I think when I see these people try to make a name for themselves by doing this type of shit.
What do?
He explained why he decided to interrupt Trump. I was thinking that I could get up on stage and take his podium away from him and take his mic away from him and send a message to all people out in the country who wouldn't consider themselves racist, who wouldn't consider themselves approving of what type of violence Donald Trump is allowing in his rallies, and send a message that we can be strong, that we can find our strength, and we can stand up against Donald Trump and against his new wave that he's ushering in a truly just violent white supremacist ideas way.
You cunt!
He was not planning on attacking the businessmen. Not at all. There would have been no point. Donald Trump is 6'3". I'm 5'9", maybe. He's a giant man surrounded by thousands of followers, 12 Secret Service, and a former Ohio State offensive lineman. That would have accomplished nothing.
So there's some pretty big expectations by him. He thought he was going to get more than one word out before he got frickin' pancaked.
Isn't that comical?
Yeah.
Can he honestly believe that I was going to get up there and
I'm gonna
speak to these throngs of
let
people?
everyone know Donald Trump's a racist. And light bulbs are going to go off. All these light bulbs. Oh, shit, man. Thanks for jumping up there, Tom.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It is such a me, look at me, attention-seeking type of thing. It's like, dude, I would have all the respect in the world. You want to go put on an event somewhere, build your own podium, slap a microphone and a speaker there, and say anything you want, literally anything you want. I don't give a shit. But Tom, you wouldn't get more than one person standing there clapping for your horse shit. The only way to do it is to hijack someone else's event.
There you go.
That's the problem with this, dude. You make it all about you. Everybody understands what Trump is. Like, we don't need Thomas to crash the thing and make headline news for it. Asshole. He of course, he's smarter than everybody else. I think Donald Trump is a bully, and he's noting, and he is nothing more than that. I can see right through that. And I can see
original thought.
He's truly just a coward. That's it. Trump is a coward and a bully. Wow, you're really original. Not the first person to say that, sir. He's opportunistic, and he's willing to destroy the country for power for himself. Yeah, but he didn't want to hurt anybody. Oh, go host your own event, dickhead.
What's he charged with? Do we know?
I don't know if, yeah, causing a public panic or something like that. It was weird. It wasn't like a public nuisance, but it was a public panic.
Hopefully he gets fined up the ass.
Yeah.
Hey, remember, if you're a young, attractive female teacher who's eager to brighten her students' future, or if you've been injured at the Fady Manor and are looking to cash in, call Helm Law at 248-679-8804 or go online at helmlawpc.com to set up your free consultation. Tell them you support the Detroit Cast and receive 15% off.
A couple freshmen have been arrested after vandalizing a campus chapel on Friday.
Why would you do it?
I don't know. With homo and racial slurs, panooses, swastikas, and the word Trump. Northwestern University students.
Holy shit.
Think about that.
Oh,
Northwestern
man.
University.
I thought you were going to
students.
say like whatever community college.
Yeah.
You're in Northwestern and you're vandalizing a chapel with spray paint.
Yeah. Anthony Morales and Matthew Kafker, 19 and 18 respectively.
Amazing what beer will do.
Right. They were both held on $50,000 bail, charges of institutional vandalism, hate crime to a place of worship, and criminal damage to property. The university chaplain, Tim Stevens, said it's disturbing to think that someone who's been in this space would be venting some sort of rage that way. The pair entered the non-denominational Alice Miller Chapel around 1:45 in the morning on Friday, then graffitied one hallway with a slur for African Americans and a swastika, while in another part of the chapel they wrote a slur for homosexuals and spray painted over photos of Muslim students. They drew penises on an organ and over the word God written in the hallway.
Of course you put a penis on the organ.
Yeah, but that makes sense. I can see where you would take the natural standing
Where do we put the
of an
organ? The organ.
Of course, that makes perfect sense. I can see where you would just take the cylinder-like shape of an organ And, with a simple line and a slash, you can draw a dickhead.
Put a couple veins.
Yeah, a couple veins, easy enough to do. I don't know where in God you would. Are you using the O and the D as balls?
Oh, they said they made the word God, penis out of the word God.
Yeah, they drew penises on an organ and over the word God written in the hallway. So I'm trying to
Maybe
think
just
where.
slap a big schlong over the word. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it could be anything. Finally, in the stairwell, they scrawled Trump. It's not clear.
Thus making this a story.
Right. Exactly.
Thus making it national news.
Yeah.
You have now put yourself front and center of the nation's
Is that
news.
all we need to do? Should we go
Trump.
Can we get videos of you just like horribly vandalizing shit and then just write Trump
Trump.
next to it?
I mean,
Trump's a dirty
Look what
word
this
now.
I mean, yeah.
Right.
So if you have to serve a weekend or something, and I mean, we could do a Kickstarter to pay off the whatever fines you incur.
It's a
right?
risk we're willing to take.
I'm sure you really. That's nice of you guys that are so concerned. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, just crash into the local church,
Doing a
and
church.
Have you ever vandalized anything? E?
I mean,
What's the mindset?
nothing major.
What'd you do? What's minor? What'd you do, dude? Throw rocks through windows?
No, I've never done that.
You guys ever broken a window?
No.
I was always so paranoid as a kid, man. Some kids in my sub got in trouble for breaking windows out.
yeah.
I was always like, no baseball anywhere near a window. I was always freaked out by that.
Do you mean
it
like
would
in
be
a
the biggest cost ever?
Yeah, I had that feeling too. I don't remember ever putting a rock through a window. Although I did shoot out Ed's window. Remember at Dreyer's house? Dreyer and I had bought these badass BB guns. It was our first
foray into the BB gun game.
into the airsoft, like really nice BB guns. And Ed pulled up in his piece of shit Toyota,
You just
and I
whacked
just
it.
couldn't help it. I just went boom, and the whole back window just went whack.
Why would you do it?
I don't know.
What'd
You were
think was gonna
probably
happen?
there.
I remember him having a broken window for like 4 years. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was.
I felt terrible about it. I thought it would bounce off and everyone would get a good giggle out of it, but no, it blew it out. But that was the.
I could just see him going, "What the heck, dude?"
This is the car though that had the wipers didn't work, and so he tied string from the outside of the windshield wipers and wrapped them around the inside of the car, and then manually would just go left to right
Nice.
and wipe his window. Dude, it was brilliant though.
Yeah.
It was a brilliant move that worked in the rain.
Great car.
But I don't remember ever doing that either. Like,
So what did you do, E? You're remembering vandalism.
I think it's a lot of just minor stuff, dude. Just,
Well, we'll decide
I
that.
know, I
What
know,
was
I
it?
understand. I'm talking about I'm talking about like around high school to right after. I don't know, taking animals, at Christmas time, taking animals and making them like humping each other.
it's not a bad move.
What kind of animals?
Like reindeer. It'd be like Christmas, the lighted reindeer would
You
be
didn't
out
take
there.
the baby Jesus, did
No,
you?
I would never mess with a Jeebus. But I will say probably the worst looking back on it in my opinion.
killed Jesus.
I think
You killed Jesus. You killed
I
Jesus.
didn't do shit, dude. Not
Or
Jewish.
more like, well, you didn't steal it.
Nor am I Roman, whatever. Who really? I don't know.
The Roman
Yeah.
centurions.
Right. Anyway, dude, looking back on it, I think the worst stuff I did was repeatedly done. I'm going to be honest with my shitty Grand Prix that I first had.
Oh no, you lawn job people.
No, but I would wait till post garbage day, not after the garbage cans were empty, and just
Oh.
cruise up to about 30 or so and sideswipe them into the lawns.
Yeah.
And they'd break pretty regularly. Absolutely. I think I stopped. You know what I stopped at was I did it one time and I didn't. Dude, it was one of those times. I finally did it one time where I didn't realize that it was full. So it was full. I hit a full one. And then the next day, my friend said he was driving home on that road. He saw some old man out there cleaning all the garbage out. So I think that was the end of the garbage swiping days.
That's pretty rough. Hose and I remember Hose. That son of a bitch. He used to take his dad's car.
Mhm.
And I remember driving on the road. We're going down Middle Belt. And they had, the orange cone season where they got those big orange barrels
Yeah.
lining up the whole middle of the road. And we're just driving on the road. He doesn't say a word and just goes, he's just talking to me like normal. Like, oh yeah, no, we'll stop by so-and-so's house. And he just swerves into the middle lane and boom, 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 just blasting through a row of about 40.
Awesome.
And he's just holding the conversation like nothing as these things are slamming into the front bumper and over the car.
that wasn't strong enough to hurt it to affect the car, I guess.
No, they
or-
were empty. I mean, if they
Okay.
had been filled with cement or weighted
Oh,
down,
right,
it would have been a
obviously.
real problem.
right. Yeah, most of the stuff you don't.
There's more, isn't there?
Not really. I'm talking most of the stuff I did because once I started getting into the films with my friends, like we did stuff, but it was always more yelling out windows or praying. It was not I didn't really cause damage. For the most, we used to steal the slippery when wet signs from any store we'd go into. For a while, like my friend's pickup truck had literally the back of the bed. It just was filled with slippery when wet signs.
I was always partial to the dip. I always wanted a dip one.
Oh,
Never
did
got
you
mine.
like
It just said
dipping?
dip.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we didn't really. But you know what I mean.
Did you
Looking
ever
at
do
the
like
videos-
mailbox baseball or anything like that?
No.
Hose was big at that. Do you remember the time we
You
did that?
really did that? That's like from Stand By Me.
Dude, for sure he did. And one time he got bit because we were driving on the road and he had a bat out. And he goes,
Didn't it go slamming back into the
dude,
window?
he hits this fucking mailbox. Wham! And
How
it
does that-
immediately kicks back and boom, right through his own window and blew his own goddamn back window out.
I always.
Deserves it.
How does that not? I never did that by any means. And I see you, like you said, you've seen it in a movie or a TV here or there maybe.
Yeah.
But I always figure, how would that not just kill your hands or something? Or am I wrong?
Well,
Well,
most of them are just perched atop the
Okay.
post.
So it's
Yeah.
not as big of a deal.
It's if you were
Just a
hitting
few
a
screws,
stake
isn't it?
that's driven into the ground, yeah, you're right. But if you just target the mailbox
Gotcha.
itself, but I personally was never into that
Mm-hmm.
scene. Like I didn't.
I've been trying to think of something I did. I can't think of an
Oh, I can
episode
think
of
of a couple.
vandalism.
Oof.
Really? I mean, I
Um,
took some dumb shit.
See,
I don't
count it-
Lawn
see,
ornaments and
Okay,
shit.
so my point is,
Yeah.
would you count that?
but
as
you'd
would
use them; they'd still be in play.
Yeah.
I mean, you had
I still
a
have
gnome?
the gnome in my garage to this day. The party gnome.
the rubber one.
Yeah, the one with the condom on its head.
Yeah, how's that held up over the years? Is the condom still
it was
there?
amazing to watch what happens to a condom just out in the environment.
Yeah,
It's like, ugh, just
Yeah.
dries up and peels off. And it's,
Jay had it worn on this thing's head.
yeah, he had a nice
Pointy
little,
head.
yeah, just a little hat, and it just condom stuck right on there. It's perfect.
It's still just in there.
It
Your
sat
garage?
there for, yeah, that guy's still in there, but there's,
Wow.
the,
Yeah, the
the
condom,
condom's long gone.
Right.
Yeah,
Wow. How do you explain that? Is it just explained as you just have this old gnome here?
Just a gnome.
yep.
Where'd that come from, Dad?
Eh.
Don't worry about it. No, but just honestly, to your point though, for real, I didn't we did stuff like that, but I didn't do it. Like honestly, I never did any real vandalism.
Yeah, I just don't
vandalism.
understand the mindset of going into like a church and spray painting shit.
Yeah,
You're just drunk. Like,
must have been. They say it's unclear why they targeted the chapel or how they even got in there after hours. And people are saying the Trump edition is the most baffling part of the crime. In their hearing Saturday, the Cook County Judge Peggy Chiampis told the teens, "These allegations are disgusting. I don't know if any of you know how lucky you are to be at Northwestern University."
that is shocking.
That's the most that's like Stanford students
Right.
or Duke students or I mean
Harvard.
Harvard. Yeah, Northwestern is that's definitely something you'd expect out of local community college students. Nothing, no offense to them.
Specs Howard extraordinaire.
I agree.
Hey, got to tell you about our Amazon link. Please use it. It's
Amazon.
on DetroitCast.com.
Amazon.
Amazon.
It's an amazing company, Amazon is.
There has never been a company quite like Amazon.
They've got everything, as you know.
There is very little Amazon doesn't have.
It's a great way to donate to the show. Just shop through our link and shop as you normally do. You're not charged anymore. We get a bit of a kickback. So please continue to use that.
Yes, it's been very, very helpful to us. God, I didn't know this was possible, Jay, but this mother left her 8-year-old son at a hospital in Utah. And she's coming out defending her actions, claiming her son was rude to her and kept calling her names. So she tried to just ditch her kid.
I didn't realize that was an option.
Yeah. Well, you've heard of the safe haven law. She was
Yeah.
trying to lean on the safe haven law, which is meant for like newborns, like 3
Sure.
days and under.
Sure.
Like, ugh, I don't want this. Ugh. You can just go drop it on
She's
a
like,
porch
I've
somewhere.
had him long enough. I'm done.
Yeah. Her name's Kathy Shearer. She's from Salt Lake City. She was charged with child abandonment and child abuse. The mother has now said she was making use of the state's safe haven law after her son kept calling her names and pulling his pants down in public.
Well,
He's pulling the "look at my dick" in public to everybody, and she had enough of it. She left her son at the Jordan Valley Medical Center in Utah with a note that said, "This kid is rude and ungovernable."
ungovernable.
Yes,
It's quite a word for a bottom feeder to use like that.
I do not want him in my house at all. So yeah,
What do you do?
She says, I thought it was okay to
I don't know, discipline the kid and
I mean, I'm assuming
yeah,
she. I
beat
guess
him
I,
into
forward.
submission.
I mean, I'm just
obviously.
saying. I assumed. I guess she's trying, but maybe she's not. Maybe who knows the situation? Whether she's. I'd have to know more. You know what I mean? Though, if she's really trying, like really, I don't know.
It's your responsibility.
I thought it was okay that we could
You
drop
really think
them
he's
off.
ungovernable?
Probably not.
Ungovernable bull?
Probably not.
I thought it was okay that we could drop him off and it was a safe haven place. I don't think I'm necessarily a bad mother. I got more overwhelmed.
Can you imagine having like zero connection to this kid who's 8 years old?
Yes.
You're just like, yeah, done.
I'm done.
Done with it.
He was calling her a bitch. And he was
Right.
pulling his pants down in public. And she's like, enough. I can't deal with this piece of shit anymore. Get rid of him. I wasn't sure about the safe haven laws or what it meant. I really didn't know any other way to go about it. He told the staff there he's claiming abuse. Said his mom hit him with a spoon and left a bruise on him.
Whose mom didn't hit him with a spoon?
Dude, yeah, I
the
mean,
wooden spoon broken
yeah.
on my ass a million times.
exactly. Ms. Scherer said she was overwhelmed with the duties of childcare as she has had 4 children, all with special needs,
Ooh.
aged 4, 8, 12, and 13. You know,
You gotta question the gene pool at
No,
that point.
right.
You can't blame it on the kid.
I mean, you know, you got the 13 years ago, you popped out one that was, you know,
Little off.
little off. Then you pop out another one a year later.
Little off.
At what point do you just go, okay, I'm
Message
just,
received.
yeah, I got it.
Right.
I got it. All the ones I'm spitting out are broken. My shit's broken.
She goes 2 more times.
Yes. And the 8-year-old, you know, he's pulling his dick out in public. What do you expect? He's special needs.
Ungovernable bull.
The district attorney, Sim Gill, said a parent could not abuse the state's safe haven law and randomly leave their children where they please. You don't get to arbitrarily drop children off at certain institutions. That shouldn't be needed to be explained to
Here's
people.
one.
Yeah, done with him. Go away. You reach out to that organization. That organization helps process your child. There's an understanding. Everybody understands what everyone's role is. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. You don't simply say, ugh, I've had enough of this one and I'm dropping this child off. No one knows who I am.
Wow.
That would suck to have a kid that's just an asshole. That would suck.
You got to look at yourself, though, and go, to what extent? I mean, really, let's be honest. Would
Yeah.
this kid be this big of an asshole if I was a little bit better at this? A little bit more on top of this?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well,
They're not just born an asshole. It's not like, well,
some of them
that's
are.
rolled the dice. I got an asshole.
You're putting me in a real pickle here, Jay. What am
You
I?
telling me he wasn't born an asshole?
He was born retarded. That's different.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, but she's got 4 special needs ones, she says. Now, I don't know what her level of special needs is. If they don't listen to her, does that make them special needs in her opinion?
They're ungovernable.
I've heard that. That is kind of a nice thought, though, that you could just go, you know, we gave it a good shot. It's not working
Hey.
out.
It's a good backstop.
Give it the college try.
This story could have gone a completely different way that we would have been reading
She
about.
could have Casey Anthony'd the chick.
Yes.
Or the boy.
Chucked him off a bridge, thrown
Hey,
him in a
we've heard all-
dumpster.
We've heard all of those stories.
Yes. I mean,
She's trying to do her best.
She's like, it's not working out. I don't feel like killing him, but it's just not going to work out. He's
He's
pulling
just-
his dick out.
He's simply ungovernable.
Right. There's no governing this body. So at this point, I'm declaring him ungovernable and I'm dropping him off here. But, you know, with a baby, they can't really go anywhere. You put them in their little basket and you go, ugh, I don't want this. And you just kind of flop them down at the doorstep and knock on the door and run. But with an 8-year-old, the fear would be that they would like follow you or something or go,
8-year-old, you have like a whole history with. It's crazy that you have zero connection
He
with
might
this
know
kid.
your name.
You might know his address, your phone number, his grandparents'
Dude,
names.
that's like a year from now, you taking Sweet Pie and just going,
right.
it didn't work out. She's calling her mom a bitch and she's pulling her pants down in public. She's ungovernable at this point, and then just taking her somewhere.
That's crazy, man.
Now it happens.
Would Sweet Pie know how to get home right now?
Depends how far you took her, would be my guess.
So he probably would know her phone number and her address and her parents' names.
Her own last name.
She would know everything. Yeah.
She could even write it down probably.
She'd report where she goes to school, who's in her class, who are, you know.
Yeah.
She'd mention what's
She'd-
his name.
She'd be singing like a canary.
Yeah, she wouldn't hold your
She'd be like,
secrets.
I'm not ungovernable, bull.
If I knew what that meant, she wouldn't know what ungovernable means. But yeah, that's rather old to be ditching your kid. It really is. Poor son of a bitch. Did you see these poops with their shoes on?
Oh, I heard this story.
Look at these poops with their shoes on.
Look like wolves.
Yeah, they do. The Iditarod dogs. Why do they put little shoes on them?
Come on, man. Look what they're doing.
But they're dogs.
They're traversing like 800 miles or some shit
I don't want to wear these
through
shoes.
ice and rough terrain.
They make me look like an asshole.
I bet they love their shoes.
You think?
Yeah.
Most dogs.
I bet these guys don't. These guys are pros. You're
They
talking to athletes. Probably did that the first time.
Just keep shaking their fucking hands. Get it off me. Get it off me. I feel like an asshole with these things on. They don't usually like them. These guys seem to dig them though.
The pros.
We got the Alaska man. He's talking a little bit. He's the guy that drove his snowmobile.
His snow machine, Mike. Let's report it correctly. It's a
What do you
snow
mean?
machine. What the stories I read, everything was snow machine, not snowmobile.
I'm reading it right there as
Well,
snowmobile.
You're reading something that was rewritten for Midwesterners.
You think so?
Yes, you read a local story, it's all snow machine.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they call him up there.
Hmm.
Todd Palin and his snow machine.
Really?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yep.
It's like pop and soda.
The Mobile is something way eastern. Yeah.
Really?
Alaskaners call it Alaskanites. They call it snow machine.
Alaskan airs?
Alaskaners.
Yeah. Alaskan Nanders. This guy was driving as high as 100 miles an hour in
On
his
his
snow
snow
machine. And appeared in court for the first time. Arnold Demosky is his name. Bail was set at 50 grand. He killed one of the poops.
Dude, it's intentional. They think that he intentionally killed these poops.
Why? Why would he do that?
Dick, more beer, man.
He faces charges including assault and reckless endangerment after authorities say he rammed into the dog sled teams of Ailey Zirkle and four-time champion, Iditarod champion Jeff King on Saturday. One of King's dogs died. At least two others were injured. He was going about 100 when he crashed into King's team and about 40 miles an hour when he struck the Chicks team. He says he was blackout drunk when the incident occurred. 2 a.m. and said they're racing at 2 a.m.
Well, doesn't it go? I mean, it's a race. You're going as much as you can, for as little sleep as possible.
And they
right?
come to these checkpoints, and I was reading that they reported, like, they get to the checkpoint. How's everything going? Not good. I've got 1 dead and several injured. They're like, 1 dead? Like, yeah, the snow machine intentionally rammed us. Like, he circled around. He came real close.
They kept
to
going?
him. Yeah, they had to get to their checkpoint.
Wow. That's
Show 'em what's
crazy.
going on.
Yeah, but the guy grabbed like a piece of the snow machine to, prove that.
Yeah, that it
so
was
they
a
could match it up.
snow machine. I can't either, Tim. I can't
Todd
either.
Palin and his snow machine.
Yeah,
dude.
he
I'm
is
telling
all
you,
in on something. When he
it's
goes
snow
somewhere,
machine.
it's snowmobile
It's
in
snow machine.
Michigan.
Search Sarah Palin and snow machine. You'll get 1 million hits.
Oh, as if you wouldn't if you searched Todd Palin's snowmobile.
I'm telling you.
You think nothing's going to show up? It's going to
Todd
be.
Palin was a
Wow,
snow machine
huh.
racer.
I searched Todd Palin's snowmobile and it got 0 results
it's
on
my
Google.
husband Todd.
Oh.
Hey, write in, people. You remember it. You remember the whole snow machine.
Race officials say that Zirkle, who's currently in 3rd place, she's the one that was rammed at 40 miles an hour, was approaching Nulato when a person on a snowmobile
Machine.
they say.
Snow machine. Commercial fisherman. It's the husband of. He was a snow machine racer. My husband Todd is a snow machine racer.
He's the first gentleman of Alaska.
Champion snow, whatever. This is Wikipedia. somebody in the Midwest changed it. I'm telling you, assholes.
I don't see snow machine anywhere on there.
It's regional.
Yeah, our region gets to choose how we
Well,
word it.
Come on, man.
What are you from Alaska? What do you care?
Report this right.
Fine. Well, for the sake of argument and for the sake of moving on, we'll call it snow machines going forward, just to make Jay happy.
See, the KTUU report I have is update. Listen to this.
Alaska's local report.
Snow machiner faces assault, criminal mischief charges after striking dogs. Think about it, man. Look at this. This is the local report. A 26-year-old Nolado man says he was returning home from Kayakuk after a night of drinking
Oh yeah.
in the early morning hours of Saturday with his snow machine. I don't know how I can make it right. Snow machiner talks before arrest.
Okay, I stand corrected. He says he was he denied claims it was a deliberate attack. I think I turned around to check on them. They say I continuously attacked them, but I turned around because I was concerned. I was returning from a late night party when the crash happened. I hope they can forgive me.
Says the snow machiner.
I want this community to forgive me, and I want my employees to forgive me, and hopefully I can get over this alcohol problem.
Adds the snow machiner.
King, a four-time Iditarod champion, expressed sympathy for rural Alaskans. God, I hate the word rural.
I struggle with that one too.
It is really, I mean, it's right up there with ungovernable.
Yeah.
Rural.
Snow machiner says he was driving drunk when he hit. See?
I don't know how it could have not known I was there when the river's a mile wide and the trail's 40 feet wide and I had lights and reflectors on. Like I was more of a target. Went by me at extremely high speed within inches of my body and sled and clipped several dogs as he went by.
What was he riding?
One died almost instantly.
Was he
Broken leg. Another impact injuries to another. I did the first aid I could. And
what hit you?
Loaded them up in my trailer. I was very glad I had it because it was full. I actually thought two of them were dead. And after I'd gone a while, I wanted to check on the one.
And then the snow machiner returned.
I knew it was not because it was pretty crowded in there, and I stopped. And when I opened the bag, one of the two that is unconscious when I put him in there was conscious.
Came back too. He came too.
A sigh of relief.
Is he going to say snow machine?
I don't know. I didn't watch this video, but everything around that video says snow machine, and that's they all feel bad for these. I guess alcohol and drugs are a real problem in Alaska.
Oh yeah,
huge problem.
Oh, you're talking about Native Americans, right? Feather, not dot.
That's not what I was thinking more. I was just more thinking they just, I mean, in general, you know, when you get up north, further up north, you get the less, you know, in those wintry places like high up in Canada and Alaska, alcoholism is rampant.
Here's the quote. Zirkle pulled up to the Nolado checkpoint at about 2:17 a.m. When asked how she was by a race official, she responded, "Really bad. Someone tried to kill me with a snow machine."
Really? Is that what the quote is?
Yeah.
What kind of time are you looking at for trying to take
Kill
out
troops with a snow machine?
Yeah, I mean, he's being held on $50,000. I mean, it's awful. Obviously, it's an awful story, but
I don't know, attempted murder. You know, if you want to get extreme, claim you're trying to kill that guy, King or whatever his name is.
Yeah. How we doing on time? What's the time? Sorry. To throw you on the spot. Did you see the German Wings pilot Andreas Lubitz?
This is that son of a bitch who flew the plane into the Alps.
Yes. There reports are coming out now that he was having a psychotic episode 2 weeks prior to crashing the plane into the French Alps, which killed all 150 people on board. He's the runner. You see, anytime you see a picture of him, he's got the number tag on and he's like running a marathon or something. You know the guy I'm talking about, younger guy. I think he's the one that locked. His buddy was like, "Oh, I got to take a whiz." The other pilot, and then locked him out of the cockpit. And but yeah, a doctor had recommended the 27-year-old be sectioned in a psych facility 2 weeks before the crash.
Shit.
Yeah, but was unable to warn authorities because of Germany's strict patient privacy laws. He crashed the flight between Barcelona and Dusseldorf March of last year. He had previously been treated for depression and had seen 41 doctors in 5 years, including 7 in the month before the crash. It has emerged that one doctor wanted him to be hospitalized in a facility in the days leading up to the disaster.
But he wanted a seventh opinion.
Yeah, but did not warn authorities because of their privacy laws. Experts found his symptoms at that time could be compatible with a psychotic episode, but this was not conveyed to his employer because he personally didn't inform anyone of the doctor's warnings. No action could have been taken by the authorities or his employer to prevent him from flying. An email Lubitz sent to one doctor revealed that he was concerned that he was losing his eyesight. We had heard about that, and that would cost him his job as a pilot. The message read, "I'm afraid to go blind and I can't get this possibility out of my head." It also showed he was taking the highest dose of this drug, mirtazapine, an antidepressant, which is also used as a drug to induce sleep. The French Accident Investigation Agency, BEA, published its final report into the crash just yesterday. However, it refrained from suggesting changes to cockpit rules, despite the fact that he was able to lock some out. They said, look, we still can't have a situation where people can get in here. So we don't think that's something we should look into. But confidentiality laws prevent sensitive personal info from being widely shared, though doctors are allowed to suspend patient privacy if they believe there's a concrete danger to the person's safety or that of others.
Back to the cockpit law. Weren't there a couple of guys who chimed in when we did this story, and they said in the U.S. you can't leave a single person in the cockpit? Like while they do get locked in, and while there
always has to be
one of the what do you call it, air waitresses comes and sits in or something,
right,
to at least have a second person to go
he's
like,
or open the door from the inside if he has a heart attack. This is very disturbing. I understand like why patient confidentiality is so important. It is. Obviously, if you're going through some stuff, and there are plenty of people listening to us right now that are going through some shit, and it's a very fine line between like, look, I'm going through a tough bout here, but I don't want it to ruin my career for the rest of time. But I think it's just natural that if you're in charge of other people's lives, whether you're a bus driver,
where do you draw the line though?
No, I know. Where do you draw? Well, we can start with pilots.
Yeah.
I think we start with pilots. When you're responsible, I mean, how would you feel if you put
feel badly
Gab and the kids on a plane somewhere, and then you found out shit like this, that there were 41 doctors in 5 years that went, this is a problem. Red alerts were going off, and it was strictly his privacy that was at issue. And you're going, are you shitting me? This doctor 2 weeks ago was saying he should be in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
And here he is flying my family. Like that seems like if you're in charge of the public, and it's, I mean, off the ground, like you can do extreme damage in one move and wipe out tons of people. I know it's a slippery slope. No offense to our Asian listeners, but that seems like a no-brainer. If you're talking about public transportation, especially with a pilot, that should just come with the territory.
Yeah. Boy, this mental illness thing is complicated, man. It's one of the biggest puzzles of our time. How do you deal with it? Where are lines to be drawn? Every instance is so different. And it's just, but your suggestion that there be a bright line with public transportation, I can get on board with that.
Can you? You can do that. It just, I don't know. It seems like a no-brainer to me, but it is a fine line. And again, it goes back to the other thing of people from the outside that see that, they see one aspect of the mental illness. That's why with doctors, you would think there'd be something that would go, wow, in my professional opinion, this is a real problem. And the fact is, he doesn't do a job where he sweeps floors for a living. He's flying hundreds of people in the air, and he's losing his shit.
Yeah, my professional opinion is that he needs to be hospitalized.
Yes, that is why wouldn't that rise to the level of danger to the community or danger to himself? I don't know, but I don't think that's unreasonable to think that pilots should be held to a different standard than somebody else.
Yeah, I wonder if it's different in the U.S. Maybe our pilot listeners could chime in.
Yeah,
tell us if there'd be a different scenario there if that happened here.
Yes. Why don't we take a quick time out, and we'll come back. We've got a video of a guy at a Kellogg's plant.
Oh no.
I know. And a guy that had a run-in with the law, and he had one of those emergencies, bathroom emergencies. So we'll do that and more next.
The Detroit Cast continues after this short break.
Hey, it's Steve Gabarra from Zott Ford and Holly, the only dealership offering 2 for $252. Right now at Zott Ford, you get 2 brand new 16 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Cabs for just $252 with $1,000 due. That's 2 trucks for just 1 payment of $252. I'll say it again, lease 2 F-150s for just 1 payment of $252 per month. Hurry to Zott Ford and Holly, home of the 2 for $252, because leasing 2 trucks for the price of 1 can't last long. Hey, it's Steve Gabarra from Zott Ford and Holly, the only dealership offering 2 for $252. Right now at Zott Ford, you get 2 brand new 16 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Cabs for just $252 with $1,000 due. That's 2 trucks for just 1 payment of $252. I'll say it again, lease 2.
The Detroit Cast continues now, bitches. Here's Mike and Jay.
All right, welcome back to the Detroit Cast. Mike and Jay. Some nice coffee. Jay had dinner.
Second Red Bull.
Second Red Bull, really? Just put a dent in those?
A little bit.
Too bad. Before the break, we had mentioned this video that surfaced online showing a guy taking a whiz on a conveyor belt.
Can't do that.
Yeah. It looks like he filmed it himself. This happened in Memphis, Tennessee.
Why do?
I don't know. Good question. It was 2 years ago that he did this. The footage just surfaced of him taking a whiz on the equipment that carries, the cornflakes.
I thought it was Rice Krispies. No, cornflakes.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's both. I think they do Rice Krispie treats, and they've just starting to look into it now. The guy takes a 20-second whiz on the machine, though. I know. And you can see the Kellogg's logo in the background at one point. That's why they know where it was. Kellogg's spokesperson, Chris Charles, says the company is outraged.
They do not condone that behavior?
No, they don't.
They do not typically have urine expressed over their conveyor belts?
No. They're outraged by this completely unacceptable situation. So at least we know where they stand, because we didn't know until they make comment. Obviously, I mean, maybe they were for this.
Full investigation. They will find out. They will clean everything and make sure that the product is
even though it happened 4 years. It's already going to go.
We were shocked and deeply disappointed by this video that we just learned of yesterday. We immediately alerted law enforcement authorities and regulators. Food quality is of the utmost importance at the Kellogg Company, and we are outraged by this completely unacceptable situation, and we will work closely with authorities to prosecute to the full extent of the law. So they've hit all the bullet points that you need to say.
Got it.
I mean, that's perfectly worded, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can expect from the company. What are they going to do? Rice Krispies treats, Rice Krispies treats cereal, and puffed rice cake products were the ones that were potentially affected. However, the company says, well, they would all be past their expiration date at this point and not on store shelves. So keep in mind, you already ate them.
You already ate them.
Yeah.
Somebody already pissed in your cornflakes.
Yeah. It's not like you need to
gone.
throw out the ones in your, you've already consumed our piss flakes. So don't worry about it. They say it's likely that the guy is a employee. You want to see the guy whizzing? Pretty healthy whiz. He's got a strong prostate. I'll give him that.
Doing his Kegels. Oh, oh, there's no mistake in it.
And the thing is, the conveyor belt's rolling, so it's just completely whizzing on everything. Look at his dick in his hands. Get out of here, you. You think he snickered every time someone said, "Oh, who pissed in your cornflakes this morning?" Because we've heard that saying before.
We have. Oh, and then he shows the K. Yeah.
Yep.
Damn it. Oof.
Don't you think there's enough to identify him? I think there's enough to identify him.
But I heard they just said they don't know if it's a worker or not, right? That's the deal.
It's got to be a worker. That whiz.
Somebody on the tour. This is a very healthy stream.
Someone on the tour.
Yeah, you guys ever go on that tour?
That would be tough.
I have done the
They're
tour.
nice enough to let you go on a tour and you whip your dick out and whiz on their conveyor belt.
Yeah.
That's
like,
not very nice.
Yeah, it's like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory tour. Kids keep peeling off doing their shit.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is this guy.
That's him. This probably happens at these places.
Probably more than we would like. Well, haven't we heard like the FDA allows like certain number of rat hairs and shit in food?
Oh, and shit, feces too.
Yeah. So,
Well, you're not. You know what? I mean, I know it. This is not obviously an extreme situation. This is preventable. But like the others, what are you gonna do? No food is ever gonna be able to be perfect if we're gonna make food for mass consumption. Unless you would go back to days of you're gonna make your own food in your backyard and your farm.
You're not outraged by this, E?
No, I'm not saying this is good. I'm just saying when he says about
You're just a realist.
I'm saying with
assuming
certain
it happens.
Yes, I just honestly. Not this necessarily full on all the time, but don't you just expect if you're going to be eating processed foods from these mass plants that there's probably shit that's on the floor sometimes. It probably gets whatever. I'm sure at one point or another, workers will fuck with it. And what are you going to do? You're going to stop eating the shit out of the grocery store?
It always occurs to me like how blessed we are to live in this country, though, as I'm opening up products and stuff. And that's one area everybody bitches about government regulation and shit. It's like, God, am I thankful that this stuff is overseen.
You got USDA regulation.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You pretty much know what you're eating. You know, obviously there's some exceptions and some ne'er-do-wells like my man over here. But
and you hope it's few and far between.
But how often have you ever really gotten food
Paraguay,
right?
You know, going to get your shit. Who knows? First off, your choices are severely limited. Secondly, but then the other side of that is everything's got damn preservatives and all kinds of chemicals in it. So I don't know what's worse.
But how often do you ever? But you're right, and that unfortunately you can't.
As I drink my Red Bull.
Right. That's a long-term effects.
I know that this is a healthy Red Bull as I put it to my lips. I have full confidence in our government.
And the problem is, like you said, with those preservatives and all that shit, we don't ever know what the long-term shit is. But like you said, opening those products, how often do you really open food, go to the grocery store and get sick from food that you eat? You know, unless you're like just an idiot and see like you left your turkey 4 weeks late, you know, or whatever. But that's pretty nice.
I was reading comments from people on when I read that story, and one guy was like, oh yeah, I got a buddy that worked in fast food for years and years. He said every morning when he got there, he would whiz in the fryer, like first thing right on the gate every day. It's like, Jesus Christ, how would you know?
You just have like,
and the heat of it would probably kill it. There's probably absolutely nothing health wise, but it's just like, would you feel comfortable eating fries if you knew that every morning some asshole went in there and whizzed in the fryer?
What is that? Like some sort of power move? You know what I mean? Like, I'm completely powerless in life. I'm pissed I have to work.
That's what I usually
so I'm pissing in this fryer.
I would say that's 100% what it is, dude. When I was talking the other day about life sucking and shit, those are what happens.
It's your own fault, man.
I know, but they don't see it
like
like
yourself
that.
better if you don't like it. Don't piss in the fryer.
The system, Jay's keeping them down.
Yeah, is it part of Boys Will Be Boys? Is that what's going on here? Is it a sad case of Boys Will Be Boys going on everywhere?
Maybe to an extent if it's like 15, 16-year-olds, but if you're talking about like grown men, doing this, that guy looked like pretty much a grown man there on the conveyor belt.
Yeah,
according to what I saw in the hand.
That was a grown man whiz for sure.
That was a grown man's penis.
That was not a child whiz. That was very, very adult. There's something. It's weird. But I remember working in restaurants as a kid, and there is something strangely addictive
over on everybody.
of like, that guy's a dick over there. Well, see how he likes this in his drink and pulling a pube and
you could get that, but
just getting your buddies to laugh. Like, not saying it's good or I've ever done that to someone, but you definitely, if you've worked a day in that industry, you know that kind of shit happens.
But there's arguably a reason for it. The guy's being a dick. But
is he really?
To just walk in and piss in a fryer every morning, walk in and piss in the coffee pot. We've all seen the hidden videos of that shit going on. What is wrong with you people?
Yeah,
that was one of the first viral videos to really get out there.
I've seen that one.
The guy, you have, of course. That was a huge story back before stories like that were deemed newsworthy. The guy whizzing in the coffee pot was everywhere. I think he did it for a while too.
Well, it hits home, doesn't it, gentlemen? I mean, who amongst us hasn't supped from a pot of coffee?
Yeah. And the game is that he's not going to know that I whizzed in that pot this morning. Yeah, Jay's not going to know.
That's the game. Like,
well, you know what?
So you've got like this power over that. I whizzed and he's drinking my piss.
Yeah.
He's drinking my piss.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know. I never felt that needed.
Did you ever do that at a restaurant?
No,
pull a
I honestly never did. I think I said this one time.
Spit in a burger.
I came really close with one person one time. I remember where I wanted to do something. I never actually. Now, was I the healthiest worker? God no. You know what I mean? Fucking Christ, that big boy. I was just sitting there making salads with my hands. I mean, in reality,
the short order cook in Road Trip is the best example of that. I think it's Horatio Sands who.
Oh yeah.
I am so sorry. We forgot the powdered sugar on your waffle. Let me take that back. I'll take care of that in this instant. He's just rubbing the thing up and down his ass crack.
Yeah. Dude. Oh yeah.
Dropping it on the floor, flipping it over to drop it on the floor the other way.
That guy was really nice.
Oh, he was great.
Appreciate that.
I will say the worst. I don't know if I saw it. The worst I ever did, and it was an accident. I didn't mean to, but the worst thing I ever did. Yeah, I do that. No, and it wasn't. I was supposed to make the coleslaw every day.
Oh boy!
And the boss,
special sauce.
The boss and owner of where I was working essentially was definitely very tight. with making sure like, dude, not wasting anything.
Well, he is the owner,
right? And stuff like that. So, but like more so than other places I worked, dude. This guy was more
really
so.
got a handle on the finances of that place.
What a dick.
No, dude. This was like, no, dude. This was a person that when I said I would make the certain things in the morning, like, never mind. More so than other places I worked, this was over the line sometimes. But anyway, point
Would
is,
he marry the ketchup by scraping used ketchup off people's plates? Because that's going overboard. That's over the line.
I'll tell you, I don't feel like getting into some of the stuff now because I don't feel like talking about a restaurant like that. But I'd have to tell you guys there's other things. But anyway, so point is, I know one day I know that he saw me making the coleslaw, so I knew he would know I already made it, so I couldn't be making it again. Totally and I was trying to open up like the wet, I forget what the name of it now, but the refrigerator in the back essentially. And I was trying to open it up. And I dropped it all over the floor and just scooped it right back into the thing and put it right back in.
Sweeperoo right back in there.
Anybody who's been in an industrial kitchen knows how spick and span they keep those floors.
Oh, yeah.
Think urinal, think bathroom floor at a concert. It's just as sticky and shitty as you can get. That's why they have those thick rubber mats on the floor, because the floors are so disgusting. The idea that E would drop a tub of coleslaw and scoop it back in is
you know what?
Horrifying.
For real,
nothing short of horrifying.
But you know what? For real, and you're right. I know you're talking about the floors. You know what's weird though in restaurants, and I don't know if this has just changed in the last few years. At mom and pop ones, if it's not a red, because I've worked at several bigger chains, the Red Robin, the Johnny Carino's, places like that. At those places, and again, I don't know if it's only in the last few years, they legitimately every night, like at Red Robin, they legitimately every night went back. But the back floor would be almost like it was like a lake. Like, I mean, they put that much water in it, put soap, and absolutely squeegee those floors every freaking night.
Yeah,
I don't know. That doesn't mean it's, dude, of course, all day long you're walking through it on your shoes. There's still stuff there. No, the mom and pops, like, if you just go to the local, whatever.
Yeah, because those chains have standards, national standards that you got to live up to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't know if that was in the last 5-10 years, because I'm sure they haven't been doing that forever. But
yeah,
but this was not the case at the place I dropped the coleslaw on the floor and just scooped it right back in.
Speaking of guys urinating, we got a guy down in Florida, big shock, who he gets pulled over for speeding. And it's one of those situations where, dude, I got to shit. And so he tells the officer that, dude, I got to go to the bathroom really bad. And he ended up shitting and pissing in the back of the cop car.
Did he tell the guy that was the reason he was speeding? Like, I was trying to get somewhere?
Yeah. His name is Carlos Adonis Ramos Erazo.
You got it, E.
Erazo. You got this, E.
This is unfair. I have not been practicing.
Erazo. That was good.
Right there.
That's better than usual. Honestly, that was not bad.
I'm out of practice, guys. It's been a while.
That was pretty good, though. Mr. Razo of Central Florida refused to get out of his vehicle after being nabbed for going 20 over. That seems like a cheap shot by the cops. I love the cops, but you're doing 75 and a 55. Not the end of the world.
Especially when you have to poo.
Yeah. And so they pull him over and he's like, Senor, I have to shit really bad. And then he's like, I gotta go now. And so he just takes off and he hits the cop's arm. And so the cop's like, you son of a bitch, Razo. So the cop hops in his car and just follows him home. And the guy goes to get out of his car and get into his house to shit. And the cop's like, lit him up with a taser, which tells me he didn't have to shit that bad, because
he would have shat himself. I
would think you would shit yourself the minute you were tased, right? You'd lose all control.
The bowels would release.
Yes. So they threw him in the back of the cop car, and that's where he shit and whizzed all over the car. What an emergency that is, man. That sucks.
And so are they getting on him?
there,
Like,
right?
oh, shitting and pissing in a cop car, we're adding X onto it. Yeah.
Yeah, but when I read a headline like that, he urinates and defecates in cop car, it makes it sound like he squatted in the cop car and like shit on the seats. I'm assuming he shit his own pants and whizzed his own pants in the cop car.
Right.
Which stinks. That's no fun. But that would be just as embarrassing for him, right?
Those cop cars just made to be just like blown out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of them, a lot of them, aren't they not even like, like actual felt seats, as in like plastic seats a lot of times?
Yeah, I think that's specifically for shitting and whizzing in. I think that's
I don't mean it like that, but like Jay said, they know they're going to be dealing with people that are probably drugged up or drunk and whatever.
It's like a Jeep almost. Just fucking hose it out. No big deal.
Backed by popular demand, Mike, speaking of vehicles, auto machines, as they were, Zott Ford is conducting its amazing Key for Key event. Right now, exchange your current vehicle for a brand new 2016 Ford without spending a dime out of your pocket. Also, they may be able to match or lower your monthly payment on your current auto machine. Zott Ford will assist you in terminating the remainder of your loan or lease on your auto machine, no matter what you owe. Plus, Zott Ford will make your first month's payment on that auto machine. Hurry, when March ends, so does Key for Key.
Okay, I agree with the snow machine. I'm fine. I'm down. But are we
hold on. I dig snow machine.
I get that.
Now that you think about it, like snowmobile kind of sounds gay.
I get it. I'm fine with that.
Snow machine.
I get that. But now, hey, I get that.
Snow machine, sons of bitches.
Out of the way. I'm on my snow machine.
I understand, but now we're going to have to say auto machine every time
Yes.
we say car.
It's funny. Jay and I in the break were upstairs, and I was trying to get back to like, look, why are you being a dick about the snow machine, snowmobile thing? It's a snowmobile. And he's going, no, dude, snow machine just sounds tougher. It sounds kind of badass. And the more I sounded it out of my head, I was like, I started to come around on the whole sound machine, but I had the concern of what do we do with other mobiles?
It's a slippery slope.
It is. No offense to our Asian listeners. What do you do with automobile and auto machine? As much as I wanted to laugh at it and scoff at it as you did, E, I got to admit, auto machine.
As much as it's ingrained in our Detroit culture, E, I think we're changing it. It's
kind of
auto
sounds
machine.
badass. Doesn't auto machine? It's a machine.
Drive my auto machine home.
Yeah,
I'm gonna hop in my auto machine and I'll meet you at the bar later.
I'll start telling people that. I guess you're right.
Automobile.
I'll be in my automobile.
Although,
I'll meet you at the dance later.
Although I don't say
in your auto machine, you're going to the fucking. I'll meet you at the bar. We'll rumble tonight. I'll meet you there in my auto machine.
I guess I just don't really say automobile that often either, to be honest with
But
you.
if you do,
but if that was the word I was going to go with, I think I would. You're right. You could change it from automobile to auto machine.
Yeah, I'm going straight up auto machine. If you guys catch me saying the gay way of saying auto machine,
we'll kick you in the nuts.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe like the fifth time.
It'll teach you.
Like, give me a grace period.
No, I think you want the first one.
So you want me to kick you in the nuts if you slip up?
Yes.
All right. You realize your nuts are bigger than mine. It'd be easier target for me to hit.
Oh, here we go again. Jay's the guy with the big dick and the big nuts. Thanks a lot, Mike.
Sorry. I don't mean to saddle you with the pressure of being stuck and known as the guy with the huge dick at the Detroit cast. But
thanks a lot.
Yeah. Speaking of huge dicks, I'm not sure how to feel about this guy. 90 years old. His name's Abraham Kang. What up, my man? I saw what you were diving for. He's not quite there.
Faking you. I'm just throwing pump fakes now.
He's been charged with sexually assaulting a woman at a senior housing complex in Seattle.
90.
It's 90.
Maybe
the vigor of a 80-year-old.
Maybe she said stop, and it took time to process. He was already in that move.
Yeah.
And just the muscle memory, he wasn't able to stop in time.
Yeah.
Or are we talking several thrusts?
Well, the girl that had the issue is Linda Malone. She's 66, so a much younger lady.
Spry.
Good for him, man. 9-year-old getting that 66-year-old.
I don't think he successfully got a 66-year-old. I think he took it upon himself. Maybe he misread the room. I mean, he's
24 years his junior.
So Abraham Kang. It's a nice name. Grabbed her inappropriately, put his hands on her bottom, and pulled her towards him. It's not a bad move. Who hasn't done that move?
Her bottom.
I know. That's old folks.
Those polyester pants. Probably a little too tight through the bottom.
Yep.
And a little too short.
Yeah, a little too short and a little bell bottoming.
Yeah.
Yep. You can see that tan sock rolled down on the slipped down on the calf that's got absolutely no definition.
Tan sock?
Yeah, the tan nylonish sock that just slips down.
Yeah.
Because there's no muscle structure to hold that son of a bitch up. So it just slides down. Kang had previously asked Malone if he could drop off a bath stool at her apartment to donate to other residents. That was his move.
It's part of your life, I got this bath stool. I don't know if anybody needs it.
He brought the bath stool up. He could have just left it. That was just his excuse for getting up here. Then Kang asked her if he could give her a hug. Let's see where this is going.
Come on in here, Linda.
I hesitated, but I let him, and he grabbed me inappropriately. He put his hands right on my bottom and pulled me to him.
My bottom.
Then he said I had nice breasts, and his hands started.
Put me down in the floor, and then one of them sat on me.
And then he started moving his hands up her sides.
Nice. Kind of hot here.
I screamed, but nobody heard me.
Kang also told Malone about his ability to, I'm still able to have sex at 90 and shit. Like he was bragging to her. Like,
So he wasn't taking a pill.
You're not a hamburger.
Damn it. Yeah, so he was bragging about it. He has now been charged with misdemeanor assault and sexual motivation. Seattle police said that another tenant complained about Kang in 2012. Said Kang had grabbed her titties with both hands and groped her through her clothes so violently that my pelvis was sore the next day. The woman was too embarrassed to press charges, so Kang walked on that one. I mean, he just absolutely went up and grabbed a handful of titties and grabbed the pelvis. And he walked, skated.
Sexual assault knows no bounds, gentlemen.
I know.
Age is no bounds.
When is it
for
okay
this.
to be funny? At what age?
What do
you mean?
Like we're laughing right now, you guys. I mean, you wouldn't be laughing
Assault
at
is
the
assault.
same,
We're not laughing.
Yeah,
the same story at 20 years old. You're not laughing at it.
No, it's the image. It's the innocent
I know
image
what
of
you're
it all.
laughing
You know what I mean? Like the idea of a 90-year-old just like.
Yeah, I'm just watching him step away from that walker with the tennis balls. He steps away and just leans in hard. Just goes leaning and just grabbing.
You slap his face. You slap his hands. You don't let him get a handful of your bottom. What's the matter with him?
Touched my bottom.
There's some one of the residents is talking about suing Shag, which is the company, because they're like they knew he had problems and he was a perv, and they moved him to another.
It's the old Catholic priest situation, huh?
Yeah, they said he had a problem grabbing titties on one floor, and so they moved Kang down to the other wing, and
to
he started
assault another lady.
Yeah, he started
They
grabbing
tied
bottoms.
my hands and put a gag in my mouth.
So he's grabbing bottoms and bosoms on the next floor, and so they're all pissed off, and they're like, "Listen, no one's handcuffed Kang to this establishment. He decided to move to another wing." And so they're like, don't hold us responsible because he's trying to grab titties every day. It's not our fault. What do you do? The guy's 9. What are you going to throw him in jail?
Sure.
Lock him in his room? What do you do? What do you do with that? Feel bad for the guy.
Just surprising at 90, he's still got that
That's
drive.
right.
You know, like, still I'm gonna grab that bottom.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
Those little polyester pants.
To have no release at 90 and going for the attack on a 66-year-old.
How big that explosion is.
Oh.
Can you just imagine the boil over that occurs there?
The dust pop.
There's no way he's taking care of that thing, right? He's not man. He's not.
Hold on, honey, I'm coming.
And he's not manscaping,
Her hair's
right,
just
dude?
blown back.
Right.
Looks like a
fan in her face.
Looks like a cartoon when a bomb goes off in one of the characters' faces. It's just covered in black and. Give me a second. Here comes Kang.
It's like an old tortoise.
I wonder when he said he can still have sex. I guess I was referring to that he didn't need pills, right? I would
Well,
imagine
he didn't
that is-
say that.
Yeah, maybe he's getting some help. And what's the problem with that? If he's getting a little help from the Viagras, the Cialises of the world, good for him. No problem with that for Kang. He's going to learn to keep his hands to himself. The other story that came out actually yesterday, the father of Tyshawn Lee. Remember Tyshawn Lee was the 9-year-old that was murdered in the alley in Chicago?
Yes.
Over the summer.
It was a disagreement with his dad or something, so they lured the kid in the alley and they.
It was gang related, of course.
Yeah, but like, he wasn't part of it. He was just a kid of. You're right, of the kid of the gang.
Yeah.
Gang's dad or something like that.
Yeah, and he was murdered execution style. They put 3 bullets in this kid. The father of him has now been charged with shooting the girlfriend of one of the men implicated in the son's death, along with 2 others.
Oof.
So he's been arrested for shooting 3 people, just continuing the gang lifestyle that's gone on there for all this time. Pierre Stokes' name doesn't seem like a real gangbanger's name, does it? Pierre Stokes.
Stokes isn't bad, but Pierre, yeah.
He was charged with 3 counts of aggravated battery and a firearm with 1 count of unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. One of those hit was the girlfriend of Corey Morgan, who is awaiting trial for the murder of Tyshawn. She suffered a graze to the face and refused. That's the troubling part too about this story is if you remember back when this went down, they were selling those god awful tacky airbrush t-shirts for the kid, trying to raise money.
Yeah, they had the 2 versions. And it was a no-brainer. You step up to like the $45 version.
Yeah.
It was badass. You know, you had the whole background scene of the city and all that shit.
Oh, it was
the other one, all it
intense.
got you was like a square in the middle of the shirt, like Tyshawn. It's like,
Yeah.
Screw that, dude. I want the whole landscape.
Of course. I mean, it was what, an extra $10 or
It's
something?
a no-brainer.
Yeah. And if you remember, that story got national news because she'd made like 30 grand and then went and bought like a $30,000 car.
Oh, I remember that. Yes. She
Remember
went,
that?
Yeah, she went exactly.
Bought
Used
like a
all the
Cadillac.
GoFundMe. Yep.
And people were like, are you sure? It was supposed to be for the funeral of this kid. And she and her argument was something along the lines of, well, I got to be able to get to work and shit. It was like, oh, okay. So you go buy a $30,000 brand new car. And so the dad was trying to have another GoFundMe to raise money for the kid's real funeral. Since mom blew all the fucking money on the Cadillac or whatever the hell she bought, that's when he was selling those god awful airbrushed shitbag T-shirts with Tashawn's name on them and stuff with, you know, gone too soon. The usual.
You say god
trade-
awful. I say badass.
Yeah, well, I could see that. It reminds me of a pier in a like some pier.
Myrtle Beach.
Right. Exactly. That's what it's looked like.
Yeah.
You know, some resort town or vacation.
Tacky airbrush shit.
Exactly.
Is that one by where you peed outside the store or something, or in the store, Jay?
Myrtle Beach. Yeah, that's where I was
that could be
accused
the
of
store
peeing.
like that.
He did it. He peed in my store. What are you talking about, man?
So you know what it's like to be falsely accused of something.
Indeed, I do. It's very
Have
frustrating.
you lived with that your whole life too? My God.
The
I
other
know
part,
the plight of the falsely accused.
the other part of that story that was so infuriating was how when this went down, and remember, this little kid was playing basketball on a basketball court, and this guy came over there and was like, hey, come with me. He's played basketball for a minute with this kid, and then was like, hey, come with me. I'll buy you anything you want at the toy store. And the kid's like,
offer. What kid could refuse that?
how do you can't turn down that offer? It's cheating, really. If you're trying to lure a kid somewhere, you can't. But the kid, in the murderer's defense, you shouldn't be suckered into buying that some dude is going to buy you anything you want from a toy store.
Right, it's pretty enticing, though.
I mean,
You
I
gotta
thought,
be having visions of PlayStation, PS4s, and shit like that going through. your
hell
head.
yeah, but you got to think that that's just wholly unrealistic. I mean, what are the odds that this dude is going to buy you anything you want from the toy store?
Right.
Now, granted, he's 9. I don't expect him to be aware of all that. But so he lures him into the corner, and his thing is, yeah, I wanted to torture the kid, but he ended up just murdering him, back of the head, just shooting him 3 times. But if you remember, nobody would talk afterwards. The father knew who did this. The mother knew. They were all involved in this gang lifestyle, and nobody wanted to say anything about who it was because it was against the gang code. And so it was infuriating to watch that story develop. It's like, really, your 9-year-old son gets murdered like this
And moreover, this was right in the middle of the whole Black Lives Matter and all that shit, and it
Yeah.
was buried.
It
'Cause was
totally
a
buried.
black on black crime, and
Yep. There was nothing sensational to attack for the media to get behind. So yeah, this is probably why he didn't want to say anything, because he was gonna take revenge himself. And so, yep. Corey Morgan, Tracy Morgan, the brother of Corey Morgan, which is weird. I didn't realize that. He's a part of the Terror Dome faction of the Black Pea Stones gang. Very familiar with them. He was the one shot dead, leaving a meeting hosted by police discouraging gang members from committing acts of violence. That's where they think this started.
oh shit.
So he went to one of those meetings and was
Oh, they're so far from solutions.
yeah. Remember the movie I was talking about yesterday, Sacha Baron Cohen's new movie?
I do. What was it called again? Brothers Grimsby?
Grimsby. Yeah, the Brothers Grimsby. Total bomb at the theater.
Not surprised. Like Ian and I didn't even realize it was out.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember once you saw, like I said, once you'd seen the trailer, I guess I had saw that trailer at some point, but I don't remember anything about it or heard anything announcing it.
Well, it took in 3.2 million at the box office
How much
this
that
weekend.
cost to make, does it say?
Yeah, it does.
Uh-oh.
Mhm.
50, 80?
$60 million.
Oh.
Yeah. So made 3.2. Ooh. It's been savaged by critics, and the distinctly British nature of the characters may have also not translated well to US audiences. I think it's more likely that nobody even knew it was coming out.
Yeah, I think doesn't that happen where the studio, puts its eggs in the basket it thinks is really going to succeed. Like, it's not just going to throw good money after bad. Like, they produce and they go, this thing sucks. This isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And so they just didn't promote it.
But sometimes, a lot of times, though, it seems like those are the movies, like you see those movies that they get thrown down our throat, and those are the shittiest movies. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes I feel like the ones I don't see as much for tend to be better. But
Columbia Pictures failed to get good numbers despite having a star-studded cast. Mark Strong, who's Mark Strong? Is it that guy?
Probably the other brother.
Assuming it's the other brother. Rebel Wilson, who's the fat chick who was in that other flop of a movie.
Ugh.
Single whatever.
She is not funny. I know
Dude,
that she's the fat, ugly, the fat funny chick right now. So we'd all have to just say that she's funny. But
yeah, I don't find her terribly funny either. The other people in it, Penelope Cruz is in it.
Penelope, well,
yeah. Penelope Cruz.
There is really going to start to become an absolute, just whole new way of talking.
Have we announced the Penelope on the air?
No,
I think it was all off.
What are you talking about? It's her name, Penelope Cruz.
We spent about an hour and a half trying to call Penelopes one day. Is this the Penelope household?
So, anyways, Penelope Cruz is in this movie. Ian McShane and his real life wife, is it Isla Fisher or Isla Fisher? I'm not sure if the Island Report.
Yeah, I can picture.
Yeah, she's a redhead, right?
Yeah.
Sony's disappointed. Obviously, they said we certainly wanted more. Sasha is amazing, and we love him. We tried to crack the code on it, but it just didn't happen for us. When you're trying to create films that are not necessarily cookie cutter and really push the envelope, those are movies that down the road may be seen in a better light, but sometimes are difficult to digest at first. No, you could say that about Borat. You could even say that about Bruno, his other one, where those were shockingly good.
Yeah.
And this movie is not one of those that it's like it's really, really strong.
It won't even
down
have
the
like
road.
a cult following like a Zoolander or something.
I don't think so, man. I think I'm someone who can appreciate the art and a lot of that, and it didn't. There's the opening scene of this movie is really cool the way they shot it. It's kind of first person shooter like, with a really cool action sequence from the eyes of the spy who's running, hopping buildings and shooting people, jumping on cars. Like, it's a really cool action sequence thing, and I'd love to know how they shot it. But other than that, the plot line, it's just kind of, I don't know. I didn't feel like it's groundbreaking the mold, and it'll have its day down the road. I didn't get that feeling from this movie.
Plus, you're competing with Zootopia, so
yeah, which crushed. But it's a totally different audience, really. I mean, I know they say that though. You're right. Zootopia killed it this weekend, but
Zootopia got a lot of play during the Force Awakens.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The trailer was the one with the sloths.
Yes. See, I was under the impression that whole movie was those sloths, and I was like, there's no way you're gonna get kids to sit through this for 2 hours. Kidding me? Anyway, 10 Cloverfield Lane was in second place this weekend. I hadn't even heard of that one.
I saw one ad for that. Is that with John? What's his name? Come on, you got it right there.
J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams had something to do with it.
Okay, John Goodman. Thank you, Timothy.
Oh, okay.
John Goodman. He like grabs a chick, kidnaps her, and then convinces her that there's been like some kind of nuclear thing that happened or some outbreak.
Yeah, so
she can't go outside.
Yeah, so he's got her locked in the basement. Sounds kind of cool.
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
Thriller.
Sounds like Misery.
Yeah, right.
Sort of. You
right.
know. He saved her from a chemical attack that made the outside uninhabitable. I didn't see it, but apparently it did well. I wasn't even familiar with that movie.
So he just kidnaps her, and then
we don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but
because it kind of sounds like the plot to Incredible Kimmy Schmidt. I mean, seriously.
The what?
That was that I don't remember the main actor's name, but that Tina Fey movie on Netflix.
Oh, the TV show.
Because that was the whole. I mean, it's just a comedy, but I mean,
isn't that based on the girls in Cleveland that were kidnapped?
It's kind of maybe. Not, but they were in some bunker. But he tells them that the world is over, and he's saving them by keeping them in this bunker. So I don't know.
One of Joan Rivers' great last jokes was about those 3 girls in Cleveland.
It's a great joke.
Would she say something about them at least having like free
rent for 10 years? What are they complaining about?
Nice.
Is it also something about
Fucking
the
great
size of
joke,
those,
man.
also something about the size. Wasn't it like it's bigger than a thing in New York or something? I thought there was another joke in there too. But
Oh, remember how outraged people were at that joke?
Well, you can't say that.
Her response was classic to her. She's just like, yeah, go fuck yourself. How about that? how do I feel to you having a problem with that joke? It's a great joke. Go fuck yourself.
Hey, this segment's brought to you by Mayer and Company Accountants. What better time to call Kyle Mayer? He's an experienced accountant that wants to help you with your personal year-end tax returns or your company's bookkeeping and tax-related needs. So whether you're like Big E, who at best needs to file a 1040 EZ, or like the King dealing with multiple business ventures and capital gains, or like Walters, who just wants someone else to handle all his shit, Mayer and Company can help. Call Kyle Mayer at 248-521-0016. Tell him that you also listen to the Detroit Cast because he's a listener too. You'll get 10% off your year-end tax preparation fee.
How often would you see bad lawyers in your lawyering? Really? Like where you deem someone just go, dude, that guy's totally incompetent for what's going on in this trial.
Totally incompetent?
Yeah.
You would, I mean, that'd be pretty rare that you'd see someone totally incompetent. Usually you just wrote it off to like, that dude's got way too many cases.
Yeah.
He's
like
just,
he hasn't put the time and effort into this. Well, there's a guy, and if this was his plan all along, it's brilliant. I think he's a master attorney. But this guy, North Carolina man, was let go from prison after 10 years. He's serving a 30-year sentence. He gets let go after 10 years, and it's because his lawyer crashed through his trial and was sleeping.
Perfect.
Yeah, the
he
U.S.
feels it going bad, and he's just like, take a nap, man.
Take a nap, dude. This will come back full circle. They'll say they'll throw it out eventually. The U.S. Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals in Richmond, Virginia, tossed out Nicholas Ragan's conspiracy and racketeering convictions because his lawyer, Nikita Mackey, decided to catch some shut-eye. The judge said that Mackey's sleepiness meant Nichols was deprived of his constitutional right to an attorney.
Of counsel. How can you have even a modicum of effective assistance if your counsel is sleeping?
you can't, I would imagine. It'd be very tough.
The Ragan guy was convicted of operating a drug and prostitution ring with his mom. So it's a family business.
Well, that's nice.
Kind of an interesting family business, in which 10 girls, some as young as 14, had sex with as many as 10 dudes a night.
Oh,
how horrifying is that? But he's free now. You know, hopefully he gets his shit together. He's on the loose now. Attorney Peter Adolph, who was present during the trial, said the judge on the case leaned into his microphone at one point because we're all sitting there and Mackey wasn't moving and said, "Mr. Mackey," really loud and. Mackey jumped up and sort of looked around and was licking his lips, moving his mouth.
Object.
And looked sort of confused and looked all over the room. What's going on? Who needs me? This is not the first
judge in your trial needs you.
Mr. Mackey. Dude's crashed. He's got eyeballs painted on his eyelids. He knew his guy was fucked. He didn't care. Mackey, this is not the first time he's been disgraced at the job. Mackey resigned after 14 years as a cop when he was accused of falsifying timesheets. One of his clients, when he's been a lawyer here, one of his clients' adoptions failed because he didn't properly explain the legal process to them. In 2008 and 2009, he didn't appear in court for 2 separate trials. This is my kind of lawyer.
I need an attorney, and I need one now.
But if the thought is, look, he's got 14-year-old girls that are banging up to 10 dudes a night. He's fucked. That doesn't play well in front of a jury. I don't care what color you are. You can't play the race card and get him off.
Sleep is important.
He's facing 30 years. So if I just take a nap here, this could get thrown out down the road because of a mistrial or whatever. And it happened. The guy's free now after 10 years because of that move.
Let's be honest. You get that 10 minutes, you're refreshed. You
Yeah.
feel great after that, don't
you?
you?
And your 20-second naps. I don't understand it.
You just got to take the edge off.
I just don't get. I can't do that. Jay takes like little baby naps for like 5 minutes. Oh, just enough to keep going.
Take the edge off. You know, where you can barely keep your eyes open. You can't think anymore. And you just got to get into that REM sleep for a second. And then you're.
How do you come out of the REM sleep, though? I don't understand how you pop back awake. I would think you just close. Once you got into REM, you're gone. I'll see you in 7 hours.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't get that.
How we doing on email?
We do have some email, Mike.
What do you got?
Well.
Yeah.
Greg writes in. Hello, men and Big E. Did you get what he did there?
I got
He
it.
distinguished you from
It's not a man.
men.
Oh, no.
Watching the news this morning, I noticed the story that Hell, Michigan was for sale, and I was like, huh,
Yep.
Then I heard for $100 you can be mayor for the day, and thought if one of you became mayor of hell, could you not issue the Detroit Cast a key to the city before the end of the day when you're impeached? Just a thought. Love the show.
Hell is for sale.
How much?
They were asking $999,666.
Ooh,
and they dropped the price. They've dropped the price by $99,666. So it's $900,000. You can buy Hell, Michigan. They've got the
what the Silverdome go for? Like 600,000?
500?
I think I'd rather have the Silverdome than Hell.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a 5-acre town, though.
I know. I was over at the Silverdome yesterday though for soccer, and you got a lot of land there.
There's a lot of land, and it's right at a hub for the freeway, which is nice.
Now, granted, as they found, the upkeep of said dome is easier said than done.
Is it even still a structure standing?
Dude, the structure's there. The roof's just sagged in. And did you see that? I think it was a Red Bull video. A guy went in there, BMX dude.
I did
jumping all over the place. Just kind of a ruin porn kind of look to it.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy, but it's a well done video if you haven't seen it. Included in the sale are merchandise rights and a number of theme businesses that John Colon, who's the unofficial mayor of Hell,
John Cologny,
Colone. So it's, I don't know if it's colon.
Okay,
but I wouldn't. We can't say Cologny. He's got all these businesses that he started to bring tourists to town, including Hell's Chapel of Love and Screams Putt Putt Golf Course.
Did that really bring tourists to town? Really, John?
No, apparently not. Come out and visit us. So the next time someone tells you to go to Hell, you can tell them.
I did.
I've already been there.
That was a big run too for a while. You
run through hell.
Sure.
That's the whole. It's like, okay, once you get past the little play on words, is there anything there?
Yeah, no, not really.
Yeah.
But the chapel offers zombie themed weddings and photos in front of the gates of Hell. So they've just put some iron gates up with the gates of Hell. After all, a marriage that starts in hell has nowhere to go but up, the website says.
See, it's all a play on words.
Despite all of Hell's futures, Cologne is having trouble selling the town located 15 miles south of Howell, surrounded by 66 miles of hiking trails. A Detroit-based arts group, appropriately named Damned, was hoping to purchase the town. So they had a Kickstarter that they started. They made $77,000, but nowhere near the $900,000 they needed.
How's that whole thing work where you buy a town?
I don't know, but you hear about it every once in a while for sure. These ghost towns or something out west, especially.
Bought a town. Okay.
He's still planning more events to bring people to Hell, including putt-putt golf tournaments, a toilet seat toss competition, as well as annual bike events and 5K races and music festivals. It seems like you could get something going there. It's not that much money. $900,000 for a whole town. Hell will be getting new neighbors next year. Northreach, a $26 billion camp for terminally. No, there's not a $26 billion camp for children, terminally ill children coming in next door.
26 billion.
It says with a B, billion, 26 billion. That is not happening. Care about terminally ill children, obviously, but $26 billion worth, I don't see that. That's going to open 2 miles away in 2017. Maybe $26 million facility.
Right.
A nearby assisted living complex will also open in a month. So, yeah.
Hell of a deal. It's a hell of a deal, Mike.
Oh.
So anyway, that's what's going on. If you're interested in Hell, Michigan, as the email was talking about there.
But speaking of the key to the city,
yes.
Have you and Kadog resolved how we're going to go about that? Do you have your top hat ready?
I'll make sure. I want to make sure that we're even going to be
going to Houghton, dude.
Look, dude, if you want, I'll drive up there, but I don't care. But if I'm going to get there and have them just get to the front and they're going to, I don't even know what they're talking about.
There will be pomp and circumstance.
Okay.
We've more pomp than circumstance, but we've got this, dude.
That was set. That was we declared early on we need pomp and circumstance.
Both of them.
Yeah.
In short order, please. June 9th.
And that
this has to get done by June 9th.
The lady that's probably still in the mental institution that said that she could make that happen for us. Once she gets out of that mental institution, I don't know how much pull she's got.
Legit.
Well,
I talked to her on the phone. She came off. It's very legit. Yeah.
When?
I don't know. A couple months ago.
Yeah.
She sounded legit.
How come we haven't had more emails?
She sounded legit. That's the problem with Crazy. They all sound legit and they believe what they're saying. So that's the problem.
How come we haven't heard more follow-up considering we mentioned it?
Well, she sort of like did the whole thing and then she was like, you want to do it or not? We're like, in typical Detroit cast order, maybe.
No, we've set a date and everything.
I'm in.
Have we?
I've set a
June 9th, 6/9.
Are you really going, E?
Why
Are you
wouldn't
committed
I?
to this?
Why wouldn't I?
Because they're going to press the button on the pomp.
Okay. I'll request it off today.
Well, I mean, what needs to be done on our end?
That's what I'm saying. I don't
We need
understand.
commitment that you and Kadog are going to get up there.
I will drive or fly up there, preferably fly from the asshole.
Yeah. So we need to get him a top hat and a tux with obviously floods. He's going to have short, stumpy little.
You have your
tux
speech
legs.
written.
I'll get.
Are you ready to reject the key if it's too small?
Yes.
Reject the key, turn your back.
Oh, trust me.
Pull down your pants and poop in the middle of the main street.
Trust me.
If this key is too small, E, I expect nothing less.
If you think I'm about to get up there and just accept anything willy-nilly, if anything, I'll be overly critical about how much our pomp and circumstance is.
Better be a big key.
And the fact is, if our contact for this project ever gets her phone privileges back at the hospital, we'll finish this up. No problem. We'll get it on the
Will
books.
you accept a collect call from
Southfield Mental Institution? Once that gets cleared up and her phone.
Hey guys,
privileges
just
are
want to talk to you about
reestablished-
that Houghton visit again. Greg writes in. Yeah, Greg just wrote. No, that wasn't. Wait.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was Greg. Sorry, I'm discombobulated now. John writes in. Guys and E started binge watching the Netflix original House of Cards.
Nice. So did I.
Latest
No,
season.
stop talking about it.
This has been very high on your list, Mike, for me to do.
Yeah, I don't know if I mean that though, because your time is so limited, and
Yeah,
it's
for
not.
you, I
Would
don't
it be
know.
better put somewhere else?
Maybe it's a good show, but it depends if you want to get into a drama.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
for
that's
you,
I'm a
probably
huge fan of
not.
dramas.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a great show. But
it's a good show though.
I wasn't sure I could handle any more political bullshit in my life right now, but thought it might be a good distraction from what's currently going on in reality. Now, after watching 6 or 7 episodes, says John, I cannot tell which one is fictional. As I sit here writing this email, I have realized that I think I'd rather have Frank Underwood and his bitch-ass wife as Pres and VP, which brings me to a couple questions. Does a VP nominee ever sway voters? And what might we expect to see for possible VPs on the ballots? I got to go now. I'm getting chest pains again. Love the show, John. Does a VP ever sway voters? I'd say maybe in their home state.
Yep, that was the point of Sarah Palin.
Well, the
I
point of
think-
Sarah Palin was broader than that. It was bring a chick into a race that involves a minority.
But it was a VP that was there to sway votes.
Well, I think the hope is they'll always sway votes, but not necessarily in Alaska.
Yeah, she had huge favorability in Alaska. She was like 80% approval rating in Alaska.
Well, her husband was a snow machine racer.
Yes, he was. Oh yeah, Todd.
She could see Russia from where she was.
Sure. I don't know who did you say would be. Were you saying Christie for
I'm saying
VP?
Kasich.
Kasich.
for
Kasich's a
Trump
good call.
VP. But as time goes on, man, he's getting more and more against Trump. He's saying a lot more directly against him, but they all say shit. And then 2 months later, just like Carson supporting Trump.
Which is comical to see people going, oh, Ben Carson, how could he, or Chris Christie, how could they come out and support him after all the shit they said? It's like, yeah, you could say the same thing to Hillary and Obama.
Yeah.
They did the same shit. They all do.
Yep.
They all do.
Who do you think Hillary would pick? You're plugged in on that side. Come on, Mike.
I'm not all that plugged in on that side. Who would Hillary pick? I don't know. Bernie? Would she feel the burn? Yeah, I have no idea, dude.
No idea.
Kwame.
Quame's available. First VP out of prison. Yeah, I can't think of anybody on the Democratic side right now. I'm blanking. Mark writes in, seat stuffer, seat warmer, and seat stinkser. The video of the slingshot rider passing out reminded me of a guy I work with. So, of course, this is the slingshot ride at the amusement park.
Oh, yeah.
The dude kept passing out.
Yeah.
Our group used to drive to Ohio occasionally on business, and this guy would never volunteer to drive. His excuse was always that in the past, he has passed out when being shocked by someone slamming on the brakes in front of him or being cut off.
Really?
So you pass out behind the wheel when someone slams on the brakes in front of you.
How often are people slamming on the brakes in front of you?
Mark says, I thought this was bullshit. Sure enough, though, he passed out one time when someone else was driving and the car was cut off.
Really?
Dude, that's like being epileptic. You just can't.
Yeah.
You think
How
Bill
did he get
Clinton
to work
would-
and stuff?
Hold on. You think Bill Clinton might be the VP? Shit.
Why not?
I don't want to say anything, E, because, yeah.
You want to talk about the vice presidential nomination affecting votes? Oh, sorry, dude.
Yeah, the VP affecting votes.
That would affect votes.
That would affect votes. If you put
Slick
Bill
Willie.
Clinton,
The first black president, all of a sudden there's the vice
as the
president.
the VP, that would affect a lot of votes.
How does this guy get to work and shit? Like he says he just want to go down to Ohio, but
Right, you could be cut off at any moment, or
I mean,
brake slam.
from what I can tell,
So
when
I'm
you
saying
drive.
that's negligence to even get behind the wheel.
Yeah. Take that
Glad you're okay,
gentleman's
Mark.
license away.
Jeremy writes in, Jay, I understand why you enjoy listening to the Star Wars soundtrack. I'll admit, while working, I've listened to the soundtrack from the video game GoldenEye 64, James Bond. No idea why I like it so much, but I love it. Do people do this? Do they listen to soundtracks of movies?
Yeah, obviously they still sell them. People obviously listen to them. I don't know. It's
So like
weird to me.
symphonic
but-
shit, like soundtracks, not just like, the Rocky IV soundtrack with James Brown
Yeah.
coming to America and all that shit. But just
No,
like,
I think those sell too.
arrangements?
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Chris writes in, hey fellas, I want to chime in real quick on the Imperial March, still on the Star Wars kick. My 8-year-old daughter has become a Star Wars geek. Every time we get in the car to run some errands, it's just me and her. She asks me to crank the Imperial March.
I'd
Over
say
and over
it's
and
weird,
over.
but I did the same thing. I had the Star Wars vinyl when I was a little kid and used to play the shit out
It's
of it.
awe-inspiring.
Yeah.
At high volume, the opening gives me chills every time, says Chris. We've even taken to motioning like conductors while it's playing. Yes, I am a major nerd, and I am raising another nerd as well. Shake it easy, Chris.
I want to say that album, if I remember correctly, started with the 20th Century Fox. The rum 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 rum. That
Yeah,
whole thing.
maybe.
I think it started with
'Cause
that. And I
whenever I
always
hear-
thought that was Star Wars.
Whenever I hear that, I go into Star Wars.
Yeah.
I want to see in a galaxy, far, far away.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
It might have.
yeah.
We'll save the rest for tomorrow, Mike.
Okay. Well, let's call it a day there. E, do you have anything to mention? Are you
don't.
doing anything?
I don't have anything to mention right now.
Okay.
I know dogs thing on set. I'm really serious about this. I think the people they should, if you had the choice, you should go to see Kadog. I forget where this is. He's gonna have to say this again on Wednesday, but I think people should go to the Kadog thing on Saturday
Yeah.
over mine that I'm doing in Flint.
Keep
on
the date
Saturday.
open.
It would
See
be
him do his
great to
improv.
have Kadog's thing filmed. if
Have some
anybody
video
goes.
of it.
Be
Yeah.
awesome. In Ypsilanti. We'll get the details up.
Yeah. If Robin's gone, we could have Robin film it for us. Anyway, yeah, we can give more information.
And there's that
when
blind
Kadog's
chick that
back.
you're helping out too, or future blind chick.
Or whatever.
Right. With that, we'll call it a day. Thanks everybody for hanging with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Detroit Cast with your hosts, Mike and Jay. From all of us at Radio for One Studios, thank you for listening. And as always, thank you, Detroit.